to help send a couple of ships to the close by, and we'll unload them. And we'll unload them, boat by boat, and we'll run them into Yemen. You got enough coming in? It'll do it. It'll break the blockade. Not only that, they're getting ready to fold already anyway. You can tell that they've exhausted all the crackpots and everybody they could hire. And you can't hire nobody to fight for you that's going to really fight. So they selling out, quitting, going home. I'll quit. Just get off the battlefield and go catch your boat to go home. Okay. Help build Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Afghanistan, those countries. But high tech use of water. Remember, a lot of those places are deserts, so now you have to develop reuse policies because they're polluting, the Tigris and Euphrates, and all those people up there. They got a few rivers from Iran that flows into the Tigris and Euphrates, and most of it comes from up in Syria and up in Iraq. And they've built dams. They must have 10 or 20 dams all along the way, right? So it's like the big dam they deal in Ethiopia. So Egypt and Sudan has got their eye on them, and they mad. You don't want you to mess with the water too much. But we got to fill up our dam too, so we can at least get the electric running. If you fill up your dam, then that's going to stop all of. That's been our flow of life since we've been here. Well, we'll do what we can. Okay. Desert recovery, high-tech use of water, that all the science, the engineering and the technology from China, even the way Israel used stuff, grow it, use it. Blockade running, enlist global Islamic support. This don't go. Space race after global cleanup. Forget about the people running in outer space. Clean up the globe first, then run out there, right? They look stupid going in outer space and the dead fish rolling up on the water. Okay, now, there's a few things to remember. Iranian history is a history of rulers. They've ruled the world. You go back in the Bible or any time, Iran has been big. And they view history different than here. They may have 500 years where they was big. They was the biggest power in the area, And then they have 200, 300, 400 years, they're not doing too good, right? Then they have, like in recent history, maybe 100 bad years. But they always got in their mind, I told them that's the difference between Iranians and some others. And Turks. Turks had Ottoman Empire, so they have somewhere back in their thought pattern that we run this, We got the capacity. We did it before for 500 years. So Iran, from biblical history, before Turkey, have had rise and falls of empire. They look at what's going on now as just a part of that. And just like they used to maintain and control all that area, Tirmidhi up in Afghanistan, the Hadith and all that. The 6 collectors of Hadith, Bukhari, Muslim, they were all from Iran, Arabic speakers from Iran. Yeah. Now, just look at this. Everything that's in turmoil now is all centered around Iran. What do they have in the back of their mind? They shouldn't have it there. But not only the Shia empire, but not wasn't people, but of course they would never say Iranian empire, right? But they holding everybody's hand, right? And for the right reason. So whether de facto, which means in fact, or other, who cares, right? And they're developing everything that goes along with it. The space technology, the infrastructure. Now imagine when they get those areas rebuilt and they get everybody involved and all of them in harmony. That will disentangle the whole things the British did to them 100 years ago. Because remember, that area is always important. Study the Great Game Theory. You ever heard about the Great Game? Russia and Afghanistan, or Russia and Britain, the way they fought for, like if British ran into Afghanistan, the Khyber Pass and all that, it was to prevent the Russians from, they call it the Great Game. That was 150 years ago, like during that era and more. So those colonial powers have always been in a great game theory. They've always been plotting on us. Now, look what's going on. Man, right next to Saudi Arabia is Yemen with oil. And the country has been destroyed. It needs to be rebuilt, right? Don't rebuild it on old non-energy saving stuff. Rebuild it with your building materials, but in modern ways to keep you cool this time and save energy, right? All of that Middle East, Iraq, Syria, those are big countries. They're just developing the technology. Let Iran and China collaborate with them and rebuild that whole area. They flatten Iraq, rebuild it, rebuild all those areas, right? But in modern technology, 21st century. You see what I mean? That's the opportunity. That's what we're going to be suggesting. Don't just rebuild them old brick houses that'll fall on your earthquake and you got all them heavy bricks over your head and wonder why everybody dies in an earthquake in Iran and they can have one 10 times as strong in California as 2 people die. Because California, they use wood. It's as simple as that. And over there, they use what's out there. Well, there's dirt, so we mix it with this, and we got bricks, right? So everything they build, bricks can't stand, trembling and shaking. It'd fall, it'd kill you. That's why they lose so many people over there. But California, they can have big earthquakes as they want. And if it ain't no bricks up there, it ain't nothing but them. You can hear them twisting when the earthquake is going on. But nothing falls but a little piece of sheetrock. Not a big brick that'll kill you or you got to dig everybody out. That's the difference. Use local material but modern technology. Right? So you have strong walls but light roofs, everything over your head and inside the room. Right? Build them as tall as you like, but it's now efficient. it uses water correctly. It goes to a treatment place, right? Yeah, okay. Let me, research and development, we'll talk about that later. Brain manipulation, not working, use destruction. Yeah, use destruction and tragedy as a benefit. That's what we've been talking about. Using your mind. Manipulate and use the destruction as a benefit. They'd already destroyed all of Iraq, most of Syria. They done destroyed it already. They've destroyed most of Yemen. So use it as a benefit and how you rebuild and what have you. Okay, research and development. This is a long story. Erosion management, how to deal with crops and foods, how to plant grasses, how to terrace land so when it rains, if you don't have nothing over the soil, you can have a big rain and an hour later the place is dry because nothing never sunk in. It ran all over. But if you got grasses and you got all other kind of stuff, the water will hold and it'll sink in. And right now, we got all of our land, tons of it. We can terrace it so that the water goes. It doesn't run off. That's one of the things that's causing problems, is that the earth is not, everything is developed like sewers to run right off here and run right down there and run out in the water. So that helps the ocean rise up. Plant more trees and more grasses and more plants. And even planting crops, they got different styles now. They're not digging up the soil anymore in some crops. They come, they leave everything there and they plant over it. Why? Because all that stuff dies there and it leaves moisture in the soil, right? Yeah, yes. Huh? Yep. Oh, Roundup, yeah, we got to get rid of that stuff. That stuff, it's even killing all the bees. The bees go back with that stuff and the whole thing die. Okay, Iran-China assets in adopting high-tech China. Okay, so they're forcing us together. Russia got 8 time zones, so we don't have to worry about space. And a small population for the amount of people. Okay, China, pretty big place, almost big as the U.S. If it was just continental U.S. without Alaska, it would be bigger. China would be bigger. Okay. China is using all kind of new technology to cut desertification, cut it down. They're actually reclaiming. Okay, so in our areas, we do that, reclaim. Iran is perfect for it because they got nothing but desert and a lot of it. Saltwater rice, I remember that. Desert recovery. Use destruction as a benefit. That's what we just talked about. Everything they did to us, use it as a benefit. Everything they do to us, we don't holler about it. We say, oh, don't you worry, we use that as a benefit. Teach new farming. Study water use, drip system. That's what the Israeli use. Okay, and I'll close with this. In Yemen, over near the really populated area, the highest mountain area is about 12,000 feet. So up that high, they get different, climate's a little different. They get a lot of rain, but it never goes out to the desert portion. So they have to build, either earthen dams, build tons of dams to catch all of that water so it don't run into the Gulf of Aden or the Red Sea. Because they got all that drainage, right? So now save it all. And if you have to pump it around a few blocks or a few miles, right, to get it out to the desert, get it on out there. All they got to do is use a little light technology, right? So what that means is, and I'll close with this, all the assets that we have, we start using them. And all those things that are not assets, we won't bother with them. We won't get into no fights with nobody that we don't have to, right? We won't get into no arguments that we don't, and we'll try to unify our people. So far, that's going in our direction.